Welcome back to Melbourne Strength Cultures podcast. Number one in the hearts, number one in the charts. We're back with a Boy There's episode before we take off on probably going to be, I'm probably the most excited about the next month of podcasts that we've had. We've got Luke Lehman back for ep number 2, back by popular demand. We're going to try and go viral on Trend Talk again with him. Probably not just talk about Trend, but I don't know. He seems to enjoy.
How to cook other gear.
Yeah, he seems to enjoy Trend.
Why stop there?
Why stop there?
Enjoys lots.
He did make an MDMA post the other week, so maybe we can talk about some party stories with him or something from his college days. But we've got Luke Lehman coming back on next week. That will be episode 27. And then we're off to Sydney, boys. Well, not Didier. We're nearly at the full team moving, but we've got
National.
Only international.
We've got Buzz coming in with the FIFO, fly in, fly out podcast.
Brother, in that Louie bag.
On that Louie bag. We've got Donny cash and checks at tax-free back in arrivals back into Australia with the Louis Vuitton Don. And Charles is up there for all of them. Who we got? We've got...
no tax-free.
Yeah, there is. When Louis flies, he flies private and it comes in international.
Yeah, I know. Cunts in lounges.
Yeah. We have... Australian strength coach would be first off the bat, which that's going to be unreal. Absolutely unreal. That would be me, Charles, and Buzz. Then we've got Athletes Authority with Lockie Wilmot. Wilmot, which will be unreal as well. I'm pretty excited to chat with him because I know Athletes Authority are doing some cool shit at the moment. And they're the first 2 big guests that we've got that all 3 of us will be up there with. And we've also got a Hectic Eats with Alex Hayes. We're going to Wings and Tins. Thank you, everybody that bombed.
Apparently...
It's no Spaniard.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, Spaniard. No, apparently...
Sorry, Hazy.
Apparently the boys were saying that they reckon they can do something better than Wings and Tins.
Oh, well, if they can.
But we are going to eat at Wings and Tins because I wanted to eat there the whole time.
Yeah.
But for a video, they said something better. So we'll speak to Alex.
Well, we're also meeting up with Brutus.
Thomas Vale.
The man.
Tom.
I love you, Thomas.
B89.
Yeah, one of our most loyal followers.
Where's the name
and
Brutus
clients,
come
obviously. I don't know. He's got different names everywhere.
Something you'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
from? Brutus.
But he's taking us out for dinner.
Me and him chat a lot. Slides in my
Can we
DMs.
talk about what happened with the
King.
Spaniard, though?
He's a king.
We bombed his post, and he would have had, 20 comments of people telling him to do a Hectic Eats with us because he's doing a very similar, what's it called? It's All Eats?
It's all eats.
Yeah, so like, eats is like sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, eats. So it's a play on lad words, I guess.
Street vocab.
Street vocab.
I'm new to the street.
Eats
all
fuck.
eats. I haven't watched them.
Yeah. But it was very similar. He was saying like, this camel burger is hectic. And I was like, mate, this is the same as
Yeah,
our...
but I thought about that, and I don't think you can claim that because hectic is a very
Nah, we
ethnic
invented
word.
Hectic Eats.
No, I'm not saying that
He's
we
copying us.
influenced his thing. I'm just
we
saying
did
that he
though.
has a very similar style and we need to do one with the Spaniard. So we bombed his Instagram post. He had 20 comments in about an hour. Then he deleted the post. Surely not because of our comments.
I think he's a man of principles, and that's not how he works. Honestly, it's probably like, fuck these guys. Dropping comments, trying to bomb my post. I'll show them.
delete
The likes mean
the
nothing
post.
to me. Delete the post.
Delete the post.
Which, I've got to say, is a pretty gangster move.
Yeah.
It is.
You got to respect it.
But then who went back on there? Brutus.
Oh.
Dean is adamant we won't get him.
Yeah, he's too big.
Dean's a super fan of him. He's read his book, loves him, but he reckons he just no, it's not he's too big. He likes to do. He just
does his own
sticks to
thing.
his own thing, sticks to his own people, and he just won't.
That's fair.
He won't. He's like Dean's like you can try, but he goes just from all the shit I read in his book, and just from what I know, he just won't. He likes his
Man
own
of
little
circles in his area.
Yeah.
Woolloomooloo.
Well, our door is open if ever you want to, if ever you listen to this Spaniard.
If you're listening and drawing some inspiration for your
No, again, I don't think he got inspiration from us at all. I think,
no
it's like,
I think we've both got it from Action Bronson.
yeah.
he has no idea who we are.
And we just have a similar style, which I would love to cross paths.
Well, he's
with.
ethnic. That's what it is.
Totally coincidental.
Most of our group's ethnic.
You can speak Pig Latin, can't you? Or
Nah, it's not hard. It's literally, but they speak
say
it
some
all in
words. Say
Sydney.
some words.
It's not hard. You take the front letter and you
say
put it on
something.
the back.
So say Charlie in Pig Latin.
Ali Che.
Hey.
Uzbek.
Uzbek.
But in Sydney, they all speak it.
Ismay.
Like Jono Wigham can speak it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently they spoke it in high school. Deuce is all over it. I honestly only learnt about it like when I started looking into what's the
Painting
the grapher?
trains.
What's the Gizzo. And I was watching his documentary and he was speaking.
All I want to do is paint.
He was speaking Pig Latin, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then Dean started explaining it to me, and yeah, it blew my mind.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. And then the other thing we wanted to recap. Oh yeah, if the Spaniard wants to jump on, we'll happily have you. But
we understand that we're a direct influence of yours, so
no, we're definitely not.
You're welcome.
We are of George Callenbarras, though.
George Callenbarras
He's definitely influenced him.
Yeah.
He's watched Hector Gates.
I hope he has.
He has to.
Oh, he must have.
Yeah, he has to have watched it.
Mate, they would have had to pitch a show at him, and he says, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Can you ask him, Donny?
Also, for everyone
ask
listening, they've got no idea what we're talking about. There's no context to this.
It will come.
No, I've realised, watch this space. No, people listen because they like to listen. And because when I listen to Full Send, they talk shit, I don't know, but I like it because it's like,
It's just lads.
it's their energy that fucking, they bring the energy.
Yeah,
Anyway.
That's a little teaser. That's something that might hopefully will speak into the universe.
Watch this space.
Full sense. We'll ask Donny.
See what Donny can do for us.
If Donny can do something for
So
us.
it's a solid.
Donny's our other daddy.
Donny is the kingpin.
Donny is Louis Vuitton. Don is running the ship.
LVD.
Yeah. Let's go to the USAPL Australia first competition down at Avia Performance. Well done to all the lifters and the volunteers for getting it up and running. It was a great day. Dids and I were there. Dids, how was it?
Yeah, it was really good. We had a few lifters down. Beck, Curley, and Jordan all did well. But yeah, it was great. So for anyone who's obviously familiar with Powerlifting Australia, it was pretty much all the usual members, gyms, volunteers, refs of Powerlifting Australia, just now under a different banner. And it's a bit better because there's drug testing, the refs get paid, and various other things that are good about USAPL.
It's the same community.
It's the same community though, which is
down
great.
here in Melbourne so far, yeah,
In Melbourne,
100%.
it's the same community, the same gyms involved, the same lifters. Obviously, there's a few new lifters like at any local comp, but it had pretty much a similar vibe, just with some extra benefits. So we love it.
Also, just a shout out to Jordan yesterday. He deadlifted 240.
Was that on the
Texas.
that was on the Texas.
Naughty boy.
Big boy.
Yeah, well done.
It was good. I saw it. It was good.
Cracked to 240.
It was good. It was a grind, and he got it.
And Curley hit 150. So yeah, some big milestones for both of them.
Very nice. And Beck got drug tested.
Beck was the first, number one, get drug tested in USAPL AU. So well done, Beck.
By my girlfriend.
By Doosa. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Doosa was the first one to do a drug test.
First one.
And Dave B.
And there was some.
Did he do it?
Dave B.
He was the other
involved,
DCO.
Yeah.
There we go. Fuck, culture.
Let's.
Culture's running deep.
I want to hear about this 19-year-old.
Yeah, Anthony Hill from Melbourne Uni. He's a new guy. He signed up to the comp on Monday. So he was 6 days out, and he was just David James down at Melbourne Uni was like, I think we can get you into this comp. Do you want to do the comp? He's like, yeah, whatever. And he didn't have knee sleeves. He didn't have a belt. He didn't know what was going on other than just fucking slamming weights. He squatted 235.
Wow.
For piss. Legit piss. Like it was light.
No knee sleeves.
No knee sleeves, no belt. Didn't even know how like the call works to like come out to the thing. Like he literally was just a raw lifter, and he's going to be he benched 160, and then he pulled I think 260 as well. Yeah, and
animal
again, no belt, no nothing.
That's a good little for the younger lifters out there. You don't need any fancy equipment to start out. Just
train
hard.
If you got access to a barbell, just get lifting.
The ins of sleeves,
and obviously when you add the belts and knee sleeves and all that stuff later on, it is going to help, but you don't need it to begin with.
Correct.
So just get on the barbell, get your $15 membership at a gym, and start lifting.
Start lifting weights. But it was a fun day, and I just want to reiterate the point that Didier said. It was cool that a couple of those things that I've always felt have been letting the natural side of lifting down over the past few years, with drug testing being one of them, was actually happening at a local comp. It was cool to see, and it's the standard. There's going to be 10% at every single comp.
The thing that I like about the drug testing at the competition is, and there's always going to be people that have, they're like, oh, who cares about testing the bottom lifters? Why don't we have to test the top? But I'm like, you're seeing it done at the competition is definitely going to deter people who are being naughty and rocking up to a tested fed.
Sure.
Naughty.
Being naughty boys
naughty,
and girls.
Naughty.
So actually seeing it there being done is definitely a good thing. Because I don't know, we were with PA. I was with PA for nearly 5 years, and I never saw any drug tests ever done. I think at one Nationals I saw some floating around grabbing a couple lifters, but local meets never happening. And yeah, so
We're straight out of the gate. It's a rule, 10%. So every comp, if there's 40 lifters, 4 people get tested. Just how it works. So.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Mathematics.
And I think USAPL is really starting to gain some momentum. We had our comp, our first sale sell out in under 2 minutes. Well done to everybody that got in there. We were warning you that it was going to go like hotcakes.
And it did.
And it absolutely did.
That's what happens when you're King Clout in Australia. I'm doubling down on the Clout too now. I'm over it. I don't give a shit.
The Clout I never gave a shit about the Clout.
You never gave a shit. A little bit of insecurity. People think of me. You know what? Couldn't care what people think
If
of
you
me.
post on social media,
fucking dog.
They think I'm a fucking rat, dog, mutt.
if you post on social media in the attempt to gain a following in any capacity, I'm sorry, but you're
chasing it.
You're
Just
chasing
like
that
us.
as well.
When you saw high, the haters want to bring it down. The higher you saw it, the higher you saw.
Fucking hell. We don't have
the
any
further you
haters.
fall.
We don't have any haters, man. Was cool. And our next one will be open up Thursday. This will go up Thursday morning. So there's 15 spots that are opening up again to fill up the 2 sessions. And then that will be the end of it. And then hopefully we can fill out the back end of the calendar, which is starting to become a little bit more built up for USAPL Australia. We've got a big comp opening in Perth with a massive club over there very soon. So that's exciting. And then there'll be a couple of more down here in Melbourne that will fill up before the National Australian Open. That's going to be in December.
And I think for the Nationals too, because I had a few people ask me on the questionnaire I did last week on my Instagram, and I didn't quite know the answer. I spoke to Jamie. For the Nationals in December, there's no qualifying total for the first year.
I think you just have to compete
once, get a total, which I think is good for the first year. Just get it rolling, get a lot of people in, get members into USAPL. But then obviously next year there'll be
some Americans coming over as well.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting. And then next year there will be obviously totals set that you have to meet in order to compete at Nationals. But going back to our competition, I think I was very, very. I think it's really nice to see how much we didn't even, I don't know if we really tried for the comp. We've obviously been building our brand and getting on the socials a lot more, but to see it come to fruition where 80 people wanted to do our comp and there was only, how many spots were there? 28?
We had 28.
Yeah. And to see 80 people try and get in was awesome.
Yeah, it really was.
So,
it was cool.
We want our comps to be like that where people want to do
I saw it Pro Raw, man, that Pro Raw event, and we all came out of that being this was a fucking sick event. There should be no reason why we can't get affiliated comps under USAPL to that size, where
100%.
it's like a huge spectacle
It's
event.
an event. It's more than a comp. It's an event. It's
absolutely.
a spectacle. Yeah.
People want to do it, and even the price tag, obviously USAPL Pro Raw was $150 for all competitors to compete. 80 people paid that. So
for just the sleeves, not including the wrapped division. That was just for sleeves.
Yeah, so it's Friday. The sleeves, 80 people paid $150 to compete. Obviously, they got a T-shirt and a shaker and shit, but still $150.
But even so, the higher price point here, man, powerlifting's fucking boring. Personally, I think it's boring. Watching it as a spectator.
As a spectacle sport,
unless
100%.
you're there to go see the person that you care about and you don't care about the sport as it is, it's pretty fucking boring. So the higher price point isn't just for dollars. Refs are getting paid. There's going to be probably food, probably little things like that.
Yeah, just better
make
everything.
it a better competition, a better atmosphere, a better environment for people that just aren't there to see their loved ones compete and actually make it a bit of an event and something that's enjoyable.
We want this. We want to try to make powerlifting a spectacle event. I think in order to grow this thing and use social media to the advantage that social media has on industries and businesses and all of that, we should be applying that to powerlifting. And after Donny and I started we reckon the Ruchis have the best live stream, and we started picking apart what do the Ruchis do. We went back and watched a few of their just little sections and stuff. And something we're definitely implementing from day dot is they've got special commentators that only commentate the live stream. So they can continue to talk the entire way. And then you've got the actual, the MC that does the bar is loaded and all of that. That has to be quiet when the lift's going on and all of that. So we're going to have our own setup. And I reckon we do sections on the day where we sit in for 30 minutes and do on the mics on the live stream.
We're going to cut out a hole in the mezzanine and put a glass window.
like a skybox.
IPF Worlds is like that. So when you jump on for the live stream, there's commentators the whole time.
And
it's interesting because they talk about the lifter, where they train, what they've hit in training. how many worlds they've competed
Some
at,
of
all
the
this-
challenges they're dealing with.
yeah,
like,
injuries, and it's interesting because then you're like, oh, I'm actually interested.
The sport can grow. So we're definitely going to implement that. And I'm calling out Vlad and Elise. I want them to be the two live stream commentators for
them
our
on the
first
mic.
one. Get them on the mic.
live stream.
And then we'll just pop in and offer special comments
sure.
throughout the day. And then maybe we'll get Brick on the actual MC. Just
In
yelling
person.
out, the bar is loaded.
The bar's loaded.
MC Puppy.
The bar is loaded.
Next one as well would be mad, and we've talked about this. Is like the Saturday Twilight comp,
Yeah, the
liquor
Twilight.
liquor license.
Charlie's big on this liquor license.
Man,
He really wants it.
Think about it.
But it's
like
mad.
you're saying,
I agree.
how
I
you was
agree.
like, oh, it's boring, man.
Would you smoke? Would you put the smoker out there?
100%.
Yeah. Smoke
We'll
a
get
chicken.
Anthony Dymek, my client as well. He did an overnight ribs or brisket. He said for Easter he left it overnight. So he's the expert.
He's a proper.
And he'll listen to this. I know he does because he listened to it last time I was talking about smoking. We'll get him down here as well. Me and him can get the smoker going and
Mad.
liquor license. But it would be a liquor license would be mad.
I'd like to do like a full-on event. Like
It'd
it's
be
$50
cool.
for somebody to come and watch. Like you pay for a ticket. It's like fully catered. There's a bar there. Like you can do it
it'd
proper.
be sick.
Yeah, get a neck rub,
Full massage out the
get a
front.
manicure.
Yeah. Have a proper thing.
Eyebrows.
Because the other one that
Have
Hawaii
a slow cooked beef brisket roll.
Hawaii State Champs was on the beach, which was
Baby
sick
back
as well.
ribs.
Baby back ribs. What would be on the menu at Charlie's Smokehouse? What would you have out there, Charles?
The ribs were mad. I did pork ribs the other night. Crazy. They are like, succulent. It's all the fat on them. But I feel like I don't know. I haven't done enough of that shit to figure out the menu. We'll leave it for now.
Yeah, maybe bring the Matador down.
We'll get the ideas flowing.
Matador's too powerful.
Too powerful. No, we need a smoker because we got the one I want to get, the pit barrel. You hang them on hooks, and you can hang like
Oh, they're in there hung.
So there's 8 hooks, so you could literally hang 8 fucking
Lambs.
8 2-kilo briskets like this.
Wild boar.
Wild boar. Anyway, we'll get there.
Charlie's Smokehouse coming to a.
The people
A
are
plate near
asking
you.
for it. The charcoal barbecue hectic eats.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Brutus wants it. Someone else
Yeah.
messaged me the other day too.
Lambros.
Lambros? Yeah.
Does anyone
I
know
don't
who
know his
Lambros
last
is?
name.
I think Buzz knows.
No,
him.
we chat.
He loves it.
I think he's in Apex. He trains out of Apex
Yeah,
with the
Crazy.
I don't
boys.
know if, he loves it. He always messages.
I
me
think he
about-
just loves the ethnic.
he loves the
ethnic culture.
ethnicity.
Man, he's strong as fuck.
Oh,
He is,
no, he's a
yeah.
lifter.
There's like
yeah.
320 kilo squat or some
Oh,
shit.
wow.
No, he's a
Shouts
monster.
out.
Went
Big
for
boy.
325.5 for the national record, but got called on depth.
Oh, bummer.
Bugger.
Yeah.
Weak dog.
Shouts out.
No.
But yeah, he's calling for it as well.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we hit that up. Maybe
No.
we
Yeah,
take Donny out there.
Just a couple Greeks in the area.
Get George Calumbaris out.
George Cullen, get him down here, man.
Get Charlie to smoke George Calumbaris a fucking.
He's got to
Show him,
taste it.
show him a thing or two.
This is horse shit and throws it.
Incredible.
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, but we are going to bring the hectic eats back.
Fly him out to Bond Beach.
We're going to do. Actually,
Chopper.
we won't
He's
say.
neighbour, Dramana. He's 20 minutes away.
Easy.
30 minutes
Easy.
away.
Easy. All right. That's enough for the recap. I don't have anything else to recap.
No,
Buzz,
do.
you got anything?
No.
Everything's flying. Crazy. What we're going to do today is we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We did a little bit of this in the very first episode. If you have listened to that, where we talked about some of our initial influences. I think we sort of just got stuck on Ziz and just discussed Ziz though, which is fair enough because Ziz is the GOAT and he always will be. R.I.P. But we're going to talk a little bit more from a coaching perspective and where our coaching philosophy individually and then also as we've all sort of become part of this team and this unit moving forward in the industry now as strength culture, but more so individually where our influences came from a career or coaching standpoint. And I'm going to start off the bat with saying that for myself, a lot of my initial learnings came from like YouTube fitness, the OG YouTube fitness crowd. And then as a subset of that, there were like T-Nation and blog posts because it was actually before social media.
Bodybuilding.com.
Bodybuilding.com was in there, but it was a little bit later. It wasn't as early as the blogs of like Joe DeFranco, Eric Cressy.
Oh, really? You're the other way around.
Yeah, Mike Boyle, Mike Robertson's blog.
How did you stumble on that before anything else?
It was
Wait.
T-Nation.
So you stumbled on that before Flaxseed, Jamie?
Yeah, definitely. I was like 16.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was really early.
See, I thought the natural progression for pretty much everyone
It's bodybuilding.com.
it was the inverse. In S&C, they started on bodybuilding.com and then worked their way out of T-Nation and then found Mike Boyle, Robertson, etc.
No, I reckon mine might have been like very similar timing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, mine was pretty early. I remember being at school reading Cressy shoulder articles.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, it would have been like
That's mad.
2008, 2009.
Yeah, see, I feel the common one, because that's uncommon. I feel everyone starts bodybuilding.com.
The MISC.
It's bodybuilding, the MISC. It's bodybuilding.com and then they start to like
See figures.
create an interest.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And then you're like, it's the people that have surface level interest and then the ones that are probably like, all right, I'm going to create a career. The ones that start stumbling, all right, maybe there's more to this, maybe there's more. And then it's the T-Nation and then so on. Because that was definitely me. And most people have conversations with.
Do you remember who those initial bodybuilding.com I remember Lane Norton was in there. Was probably one of the big ones.
The biggest one.
Yeah. And was Eric Helms in there?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember because Eric Helms had a pretty early rise through social media.
We'll mention today, I think he coached Matt Ogus a long time ago, and that was kind of helpful for him on his trajectory to just getting more eyeballs on him. Because obviously back then, I mean, probably still is, but like in the early YouTube days, he was one of the big names.
Matt Ogus, absolutely. Natural lighting, half natty lighting. Half natty lighting. But that was sort of where my initial influence came from. Where was yours, Charles?
Honestly, I didn't care that much for training, for reading about training back in the day. I used to just train with you, and my interest for training came from training. I liked being in the gym. I didn't used to read too much about it.
Did you run programs?
No, not really. We had our programs that I remember we used to hit like with Brooksy on a Monday at GSAC.
We used to do
like chest Mondays. It would be and you'd be
I need to smoke your chest.
10 sets of chest.
Charlie's Smokehouse from fucking 2010 was just his chest peeling off the sternum.
I used to love training shoulders, so lots of one arm cable lateral raises.
Oh, yeah?
I loved those. It was special, but I didn't read that much at all. I'll be honest. That's my answer. Not back then. Not in 08, 09, 10.
Well, who's your first influence?
Well, where'd it come from then?
Oh, first influence was because I was already training in. So Lane Norton was one of the first ones. I remember you told me about him, and I started reading his shit. But then Mike T as well was a big influence.
Yeah, Mike T,
on.
which would have been 2016.
A little bit earlier, I reckon. A little bit earlier. It was back to Sweatmaster days.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I reckon I started brushing up on his stuff, Sweatmaster days. But yeah, as early as you're talking, like 08, 09, 10, I was not doing
You weren't in it.
I was not doing anything back then.
You weren't in
I was
it.
just
Studying. You were studying chemistry.
I was studying chemistry.
With Miss Hubber.
08, 09, I was in grade 5, grade 6, so I wasn't doing a whole lot of reading of fucking sports.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, one of the early ones, I got onto Omar Isuf pretty early into my YouTube fitness explorations. The first year or two that I'd started getting to the gym, I slammed YouTube fitness. I watched so much, it's not even funny. Now I literally watch none. But yeah, Omar stuff. And then like from there was like some branch offs. Like from him I found Mark Bell and I really like what he was doing, super training.
Fat Mark Bell.
Fat Mark Bell is the best Mark Bell. I miss it. And then from there, like Alberto Nunez would feature on his channel, and then that's where I found 3DMJ, and cool that now I'm coached by Jeff from 3DMJ, but I was following their stuff from like 2015. So he was a good one. Like I'd watch religiously every video he did, but then he'd feature a lot of guys, and that's actually how I found more of the Australian powerlifting scene, because JP did a video for him, and I'm like, oh, sick, this guy's from
JP
Australia.
did a video for who?
For Omar stuff back in the day. Like
he did too.
2017 or something. 2016, 2017.
When JP was pumping YouTube content.
And then I was like, oh, this is a cool video. I'm like, oh, this guy's from Australia. Oh, this guy's from Melbourne. And then from there, I found Powerlifting Australia. I think that was kind of helpful into like me finding my way to you guys, because obviously I started following JP's channel, and then you guys featured on his channel.
Well, JP was my very first coach back when I was at Woodford, training at Woodford, which was 2014, 15.
He's not on, he doesn't really post on YouTube anymore, but he's got a lot of really solid powerlifting specific videos, technique, programming. I learned a lot from those videos.
That's crazy. So because I hired JP through Woodford, because then we get a little bit further down my journey, and that's what brought you into
well, yeah, it was Omar Isuf, JP, following JP for a while.
Shouts out Omar Isuf.
You did a video on his channel about it was called like
Extensor
low back
Tone.
pain one.
Extensor
Yeah,
Tone.
yeah,
It was in the old gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, these guys are cool. And then within
Fuck,
maybe
we-
6 months, I was training out.
We haven't
Probably
made
less
much
than
content about that, so I'm surprised you could find that one video that we discussed that one topic.
that. Not covered much at all on
Nah.
the YouTube.
That's crazy. Oh, that's really cool.
So it's all YouTube. For me, it was always YouTube. That was where I spent a lot of my time.
I watched a lot of the Australian bodybuild, like when I say bodybuilders, Eddie Ung. I used to
Eddie Ung,
I used to love his vlogs back in the day.
I had a short period
Zach
following his
Perner.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Perner, all those Aussie fitness bodybuilding guys, and I quickly got out of that. I always wanted to do a physique contest.
Yeah, you
That was my goal. I loved that. I was like, fuck, get shredded,
Yeah.
look massive.
We're bored
But then
choice.
the more I started strength training, I just went towards that and preferred it more, and then realized I like food too much.
Yeah.
And-
I think I like that about Omar stuff was always a bit more like strength training focused. And obviously, through there was like, and then I found like Mark Bell. I'm like, fuck, powerlifting is sick. How do I do this? Like, I want to get involved with this. Like, yeah.
Mark Bell was another huge one for me as well, without a doubt. I think, I'd also, when Mark Bell in my head was big, Kelly Starrett was
Similar
also
eras,
a
yeah,
massive a massive influence. The Kelly Starrett era where CrossFit really took off. What year did CrossFit take off?
I think it was like late 2000s, early 2010s where it really started to like skyrocket.
Yeah, because that would have been that's probably when I started like learning anatomy. Kelly Starrett taught me more. Maybe Cressy, but watching Kelly Starrett literally just smash a specific muscle. He'd be like, all right, now we're going to find the sartorius.
Smash
and
it.
he'll position himself in a way and then just fucking pin this ball into his leg. I'm like, oh, that's where the sartorius
was
is.
the,
And I just used to play around with it as well. I'd be like, all right. And I literally learnt anatomy following that.
Joe DeFranco's Limber 11.
Yeah.
I did that with Eddie Cott.
Agile 8 as well.
Agile 8.
I did the Limber 11 with Eddie Cott in the foyer at the old gym once.
Yeah.
It was good. Felt limber.
Oh,
The other one I used to watch was Furious Pete.
Oh, he's had 3 bouts of cancer.
Yeah, he had but he was
Again.
I haven't watched his stuff for a few years, but I don't even know if he's still making.
Well,
YouTube
he made
content.
a really interesting video where he talked about how his testosterone, because obviously he had testicular cancer,
Yeah.
and his testosterone had been like in the floor, and they had him on some medication, and it was suppressing his natural test further, and he went missing for 12 months, and then he made this comeback video, and he's like, the reason I've been gone is because I've felt like a shell of myself, and I had no motivation to do anything, had no, like, literally depressed. He was depressed and all of that, to a point where he just didn't want to show up or rock up. And he's like, I'm now on a test supplement, or obviously he probably is taking test or like TRT or whatever. And he's like, I actually feel confident to get back into making videos. So that's where he went.
Furious Pete.
Yeah.
Never
I
heard
might-
of him.
You never heard of him?
I've heard of Furious Pete.
Man,
Yeah, I
he's
used
an
to
Man,
watch
that
his
man
stuff.
can punch food.
He's an animal.
Oh
Never
my
heard of him.
God.
He's an animal. I remember I watched
He
his
has like 3
video
million
and he went
followers.
to like some Fiji or some shit for a wedding, and he's like training in the hotel gym and just doing the most like weirdest shit just to get a session in. But yeah, he's just an animal. Like he deadlifted like 700 pounds and stuff. Just
And then he was a power eater or whatever.
he was just good. He was entertaining to watch.
Food challenges.
Yeah.
stuff
Food
like
challenges.
that,
I was never YouTube. I was never into YouTube.
Never?
Like YouTube fitness. Nah, outside of Ziz, not really. Like it was just that.
This was Facebook.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Facebook. It was Facebook. We
He,
talked about
he's
it
had
the other
those like
day.
compilation YouTube videos.
Yeah, the compilations. His
But not-
Facebook was the best. He would just like throw up trance tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would just throw up. I remember he'd throw up trance tracks, like lose it, go train, like that, and that's why I love it. Like still, it's just like music, train.
God's
That was
Kitchen.
it.
Literally,
It was just,
yeah,
like, the
pre-workout, music pre-workout train.
Music pre-workout train, and it was such like a cool.
Take your
like,
shirt off and
blend.
flex.
Yeah, it was just like the funnest. But that was all. That was it for YouTube. I only
yeah.
started looking at super training when I started training here.
Yeah.
Mine was all like.
Was
through
yours
sports
always
performance.
S&C?
Always
Yours was
S&C.
always S&C.
Yeah, because really, like I was saying earlier to the interns, like if I didn't find an internship, I probably wouldn't have been in the fitness industry. I was like just going through the sports science degree, and it was all like I was only really into bodybuilding and fighting.
Yeah.
Like that's all I really cared about. And then I found that internship, and then through that internship, through a couple of mentors, they pushed me in the direction. I remember for me, it was Mike Boyle was the first one.
Yeah.
Mike Boyle's functional strength coach. He cops a lot of hate now, but he's fucking one of the GOATs and functional strength coach. I remember it was like
It's like
5.
volume, yeah.
Yeah, and then I watched all 6 of them, which I didn't realize. Like it was outdated idea. I watched the updated one,
And then I
watched all the outdated ones, and then came back up. Which
You saw the circle. You saw the circle there.
Yeah, so there's him. There's Perry Nicholson, who now is like, he's now full lymphatic drainage. Fucking, he's gone. And Charlie Weingroff.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they were like my 3 guys. Training equals rehab equals training sort of deal. But then from there, it was just everyone in sports performance and S&C, which I think was pivotal because like right now
It's the foundations.
and it's almost like a more integrative approach. Like now it's more bodybuilding, body composition, not bodybuilding, but body composition and strength athletes. But I think the thing with strength athletes and powerlifting is like people like just look at them as powerlifters, not as athletes, and it's almost like when you've got this more holistic view that it's applied stress. If it's just like max strength and max effort, you may be losing out on a more complete, more well-rounded athlete. And we're seeing it now. Like people
Absolutely.
people are more inclined to get a little bit fitter and become a more well-rounded athlete. Take some time away from SBD, and it's like that was it. And now, as I start moving more towards that, I do think that the athletic sports performance S&C side was like pivotal in development for that. That was pretty
Absolutely.
much
I
me.
think, and it's just ultimately it's just the discussion of the underlying principles more than anything, and some of those S&C. In fact, I'd say almost majority of those more. And Angus Bradley actually talks about this as well. Like
I think that's why it's great.
Yeah, but Angus's take is that the current industry that we all feel, and I feel a little bit sorry for the new people coming into what we're currently experiencing with the social media push and everything's soundbitey, and there's very little like depth and layered conversation unless you want to go a bit further and purchase mentorships and all of that sort of stuff. But the discussion of textbooks and all of that sort of stuff just doesn't really happen right now because there's so much just short form video, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram content that provides the information. Whereas in our era, 10, 15 years ago,
Blogs.
there was very much still blogs, and I got this information from these textbooks, and you'd go and hammer textbooks. But Angus talks about how the current industry and how it's evolved is so new, and it's almost like an adolescent. It really hasn't developed that much. And a lot of the principles get lost because they take years and years and years to unfold and develop and to be tried and tested. And unless you've gone through that old S&C sort of theory, which is like Bondarchuk, Verkhoshansky, and all of those sort of things, you're missing out on so much underlying sort of lens to just view what is actually happening with training and progressive programming and all of these sort of things. So it's definitely evolved in a way that I think has let the current people down a little bit. I'm sure there's still some real nerds out there that are diving deep into it, but
Oh, for sure.
There would
I
be.
think the blog era was the best thing
Yeah.
for me. You just
The
you
good-
just suck it all back, and then that's what
to
gave
wait
you
a
like,
week.
huh?
you have to wait a week for the
You
next
had to
one.
wait a week, but it just gave you more direction elsewhere because it was almost like connected dots. Like they talk about one principle, it's like, oh, well, I want to know about this principle, and then it dives you somewhere else. And did you ever have like this fucking everlasting list of tabs open?
Yeah.
And because it was just like you go from one onto the next. It's like, oh, now do you know about this? And you go on to the next one. It was just this constant web of trying to figure it out. And then you find it where the source is. Like, I need to get that fucking textbook.
That
And then
textbook,
you're reading the
and it
textbook.
always came back to a textbook.
Yeah, and it was
always came back to a
it was
textbook.
the same shit we were talking to the interns earlier. It's like the physiology. If anyone in X Science is listen to this, it's like learning physiology. Like reading physiology textbooks suck.
Dry.
Sucks.
Mouthful of wheat bix.
But if you want to understand programming and understand why a mechanism works, it's much easier to go into it with that context. It's like, oh, well, we were using carbohydrate metabolism as the thing earlier. If you want to learn about carbohydrate metabolism, learning about fucking Krebs cycles is the driest thing ever. But learning about it in the context of training and nutrition makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah. Going in with the lens to answer a question rather than just learn the topic as a whole.
I was going to say, the good thing though is those blogs are still there. We're showing our interns. Eric Cressy has blogs from 2002,
2002.
and they haven't gone anywhere. So
He's been writing blogs for 20 years.
if you want to go back and find it, it's still there, available for your perusal.
And this is something that I love about Mike Teixeira and his classroom. Is it's very theoretical from the history of sports science as well. Because when we did his emerging strategies and that whole thing, and then now we're getting into like Mladen Jovanovic and
Gunnar Borg.
the Borg scale.
Borg scale.
Yeah.
Well, he's the first up. That's the first RPE scale.
Borgzilla.
So I know Mladen Jovanovic talks about it. Mike Teixeira talks about it, but it's an understand. And it was the 6 to 20. So 6 would be 60 beats per minute, 20 being 200 beats per minute, and it was actually first designed for aerobic activity. And then Mike T translate.
Sorry, Dids.
Was that a bit tired?
Yeah, you're boring me, Charlie.
Yeah, get the fuck out. So he then translated it to the 1 to 10 scale. But you get that history of that in his course. But his course was good. Bryce was the one that told me to do it.
I loved it.
And it was good. I did it, and it was like I learned quite a lot. And then that was when I've definitely noticed a shift with RPE in Australia since then. Because back when
everywhere now.
When we first were like, everyone was like, "It's trash, it's this," and everything was prescribed loads, and we just stuck to our guns. We're like, "This is the way."
All right,
and
this is the future.
This is the future, and then now it's definitely shifted. So, Mike T definitely opened me to that. We've spoken about Mladen Jovanovic before on the podcast, and he's definitely
he would be the S&C version of Mike T. What Mike T is to powerlifting, I feel like Mladen is one of the figureheads for S&C.
Well, it's all like I love it because it's like I think you can look at that shit from like a nihilistic viewpoint, like without planning, and like what's the point? Like what's the point of all this? Like it's you can't plan, you can't predict. Like it's
there is a
stupid.
plan though.
There is a plan.
It's a skeleton.
Yes, it's a skeleton, but it takes into account randomness.
Yes,
and the unpredictability that is a human. You know what I mean? Like
a human and life,
and
the two
life.
things together.
Exactly. It's like and to not have that's a pretty fucking big factor when taking in programming and trying to predict adaptation. Like it's massive. And it just doesn't make any other sense. And that's where Mladen, it's like, although, S&C, and this is where I think it's more congruent than people think, like S&C principles and powerlifting. It's like his whole thing in agile periodization just stemmed from the randomness that is sports training. Play a game, probably going to pull up sore. Are they going to be able to lift well? Maybe not. Maybe yes. Are the coaches just going to give them a rest day and say, guys, you don't have to do shit today? It's like, fuck no, actually, we've got to do some shit. And it stemmed from that, which is the same thing with lifting. Like, it's exactly the same.
So the same principle as the randomness of life.
Randomness of life.
Literally, people work jobs. They have life stress, emotional stress. They have shit nights of sleep. All that stuff is in that boiling pot of a person training. So you need to be able to adjust training on a day-to-day basis. And that's what RPE is.
Yeah, I think an issue that comes up when there's like two schools that are being debated, and we've probably fallen victim to this as well, is that you look at the other side and you just straw man it. Like, oh, RPE, there's no plan. Like, what are you going to do? Just load anything on the bar? What if your lifter just randomly maxes out? But of course we know that's not the case. There is still kind of a plan. It's just we're going to be a bit more adaptable. So I think, as always ends up being the case, the answer is somewhere in the middle, as we always come back to. It's not, never plan anything, never have any forward thinking. It's, okay, let's not have a concrete plan. Let's have a plan that's adaptable and we can teach the person in front of us how to change it.
But also, who cares if they randomly max out?
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? No, I'm not ripping you, but like I'm saying it like as the general thing. Like if that random by accident max out is enough to tip that athlete over the edge, there's something going wrong.
Yeah, they shouldn't be on the limiter.
They shouldn't be on the limiter, or
for sure.
Your program is this too much fucking work for them to tolerate that.
They're probably already working at 98% of their capacity if one max out.
Exactly.
Because like I'm sure it's all happened. We've had clients fucking just randomly max out. I don't think any of us, I can probably say 100% certainty, none of us have been, man, what the fuck are you doing? That's stupid. Unless they were like 1 week out from a comp and we need them to be delayed. Outside of that, we're like, hey man, look, probably not the best move. Maybe we got a PB. Let's try not to do that again for a little while. Like, we're never going to be like mad. Whereas, some coaches might take that approach. Like, no, you've got to follow the plan 100%.
I've had guys do it at the end of the block. I'm like, crazy. end of the block. That's the best time to do it.
Yeah, for
Man.
sure.
And I tell them don't do it.
Don't do it in week 3.
Yeah, if they're doing,
don't do it in week 3.
They're doing week 2, and
Last
we'll be
week.
like, yeah, cool, but you're probably going to have shit training for the next 2 weeks. And that's fine, as long as you're willing to cop
But
the
will they have
consequences.
shit training for 2
we
weeks?
don't know. They might. It's
We
probably
don't
not.
know.
It's probably not the best.
Don't feed it.
It's probably correct. Nah,
Don't feed it.
But okay.
Other way, you're gonna be sweet, brother.
gonna be fine.
You're gonna go harder next week.
I think we can say with
You're an adaptable beast.
with a fair amount of certainty.
Robust. You've evolved from the apes.
You're a
You-
champion.
We are adaptable, but I think if we're doing a 6-week block, it is. We can say with a great deal of certainty that maxing out in week 2, and when we say maxing out, like a proper RPE 10 grind, if you hit a max and it's an RPE 8, fine, but grinding lifts out in week 2 probably isn't the best strategy.
I agree.
Could you make progress doing that? For sure, and we've all seen it happen, but I think it's fair to say that's
I
not
agree.
the best approach.
All right, good
but it's not
logic.
going to kill you.
I actually agree with you, Didier.
Yeah,
As
good
much as
logic.
we're giving you shit.
Charlie,
I
Jamie
do-
doesn't.
We have to clarify
no.
for the lifters.
I don't agree.
No, so
Jamie's wrong.
there's 2 points here. I agree with Didier in terms of program. We don't need to be hitting RP, so don't in week 2. Like that's why we program 6, 7s, 8s because stimulate, don't annihilate. The second thing was
that's a
though,
good one. Hey.
the second,
Put that on a t-shirt.
the second thing was though that if you do hit a max effort in week 2, we can't assume that it's just going to fuck your training.
Correct.
So that was what I didn't agree with.
What are the 4 agreements?
in the
No
s-
assumptions.
In the same way that
Bash
we can have a deload week in week 1, and that's supposed to make us have a better performance in week 2.
Yeah.
But that might not happen. Week 2 might be shit as well,
Yeah.
which is why we have RPE, and then we just.
It's like
run on the
I've
fly.
got some client who was it yesterday did a check-in for someone that had a week off COVID and they came back, they're like, I'm actually really strong this week. Now, safe assumption you had COVID, you've been sick, you're going to come back feeling like shit. Might have been like a bit of a washout, deload, they've come back,
as
hammering it.
as I've told
So
clients,
you can't assume it.
as
You
I've
can't
told
assume
clients a
Their
million
mouth.
times.
No, you're gonna be weak, bro.
You're going to be a week.
You're gonna be fucking
no,
shit.
I didn't say anything. They said in their update, I've come back from COVID. I'm actually feeling really strong. I'll hit really big numbers this week.
Like,
No,
like,
you're not.
No, you're weak.
like if a
The
client,
textbook said this. Textbook.
if
The
a client,
textbook said
I was going to say if like a client's like, oh, should I go 120 next week? My answer will always be, if warm-ups are feeling fine, that should be okay. But take it how you feel on the day. Like, I don't have a crystal ball.
All right,
I don't know how it's going to be.
I'm overruling this conversation. There's too much logic going on here. We're going to enter.
too logical.
All right, wait, I'll counter it with less logic. I've got a client, Joey Mamone, at the moment.
Shouts
Joe
out.
Mamone.
He's
shouts
new,
out.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's super dad, running a business, got a couple kids,
We love
family,
it. We love
and
to
he's
see
going
it.
hard, but he's deep in a deficit right now.
Yeah.
And I've been like, we're having the RPE and like loads, prescribed loads conversations.
Discussion.
And it's like, he goes, if I'm sending it, I'm sending it. I'm like, whatever, man. Like, just let it go for it. But yesterday was a bit.
He went too hard.
He went too hard. But also, the dude's in a deficit for 12. Has been in a deficit for 12 weeks. If he's feeling good, I'm not going to be like, oh, bro, you're in week 2. Like,
Yeah.
fucking bad boy. It's just maybe don't jump up 15, 20 kilos.
Big wave surfer, mate. If the waves are there to be
Yeah,
surfed,
exactly.
fucking get on your board, paddle out, and surf those waves.
Yeah, and if you feel like the last 2 weeks in the deficit has been feeling a bit, but this week he's going to go for it. Fucking go for it. I'm not going to slap him on the wrist. You know what I mean?
for it, puppy.
You're a weapon.
Puppy.
Logic. We don't worry about that.
All right, I'm gonna just rattle off some random names from the old era, and just first thing that comes to your mind from everyone, whoever wants to jump in first. Not all of these are going to be funny. Some of them will be, but number 1 is Mark Rippetoe. What's the first thing that
Milk.
5 bar 5.
milk
And the
What was
trapper
milk?
is Satan.
Wait, no, what was his milk prescription?
Gallon of milk.
A gallon of milk.
Gallon of
4 liters of milk.
Gallon
we
of
might
milk.
actually YouTube video that 4 liters of milk.
Imagine how
That would be a good
Imagine
challenge.
the battlefield in Charlie's stomach if he had 4
All right, so
liters of
we're going to
milk.
do it, and it's going to be one day. This guy was doing it every single day. Imagine rocking up to the supermarket, 2 liters of milk. And just fucking
Another
necking
perler
Bro,
from Mark
almost
Rippetoe
sold me.
is a grown man weighs 200 pounds.
Oh yeah.
So you got to have milk until you weigh 200 pounds.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the
So
barbell,
100
the
kilos.
barbell
Trap bar,
training,
90 kilos.
the absolute passion for barbell training that he had.
The trapper is Satan.
Which
Yeah,
I
hate sa-
I
hate
drunk
trapper.
that Kool-Aid hard in my early days.
he's fallen off a little bit. Big old Mark.
Mark
ever on?
Rippetoe. Who's the one?
Was he ever on?
He was on something.
No, he definitely was. No,
I'm joking. Starting Strength was
starting-
actually, that's one thing I missed. Starting
Yeah.
Strength was the first book I read.
Yeah.
It was the first Strength.
I never read the
book.
book. I used it more like an encyclopedia, just looking
Yeah.
at it and shit.
I used the word read loosely.
Still in there.
I did
First
cover
one I
cover.
bought.
Is it in the
cover.
office? We got it in the office. Where
We've got it somewhere here. They're in that. I don't know where
They're
they
somewhere
are.
there. I've
They're,
seen them
they're
floating
somewhere.
We don't really read books anymore. We're too smart.
We just use Neuralink to get information these days.
Yeah, I want Neuralink now for programming.
Next one, Scooby1961.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
I don't even know who that
Yeah,
is.
Charlie wouldn't know.
And his red as.
And he used to just yell at pillows. He used screaming pillows.
I never watched him. I remember listening to like an intro, like this guy's jacked.
His pecs
And then
were
he'd
fucking
start talking, and I'm
ginormous.
like, I'm actually done with this.
He has a big pecs.
He used to just train at home. Like he'd just like do push-ups and stuff with like park benches and shit.
and he'd
He
be like,
was
you just got to train
red
2
as.
times a week. That's enough. That's all you need. It's like, yeah, because you're 60, mate. Like,
And slam a G a test.
Yeah,
right.
he was
Man, he
jacked
was
and
jacked.
red. Like he was red as
raw.
fuck.
Absolutely.
Rick the Stick.
Rick the Stick. Louie Simmons, R.I.P. Did anyone get any influence from Louie Simmons?
Yes, I read the West Side book and I thought Conjugate was the fucking best thing ever.
100%.
But again, coming from an S&C influence, max effort, dynamic effort sort of fit the mold of a training week. But almost fucking started buying bands and doing a Conjugate.
Oh, really?
once. Yeah, but I've just read it all and I'm like, this fucking makes
It
sense.
just makes sense.
It just makes sense. But then it's like, so it's just getting stronger
Yeah.
and not wasting my time with that. If I was a pure, because like for athletes, I think it's that split, that layout split. You got a heavy day, you got a fucking hard and fast day.
Speed.
Speed. I mean,
Speed
it works,
work.
but
We used to do that. That was the heavy
We used to do it, yeah.
heavy day, light day.
Yeah.
3x5 one day and then 10x2 the other day.
Yeah.
10 by 2 at 50%.
Yeah.
It's probably the first program I like self-wrote for myself was a
Yeah.
hybrid of Conjugate and the West Side and a bit more for natural people that Charlie and I used to run. When we were deadlifting like 160s
Yeah. big
back in the
boys.
days. Big boys.
Real natty numbers.
Yeah, 100%. Does anyone remember AthleanX?
Yes.
yeah.
Still
Everything was like, this exercise will ruin your shoulders. Like, it was always really
no
controversial.
Real
Big
no
time.
CVic.
Yeah.
Loves it. I think he's got 10 million followers on
That's
YouTube.
It's massive.
He
Shredded.
would be making bank.
He had 2 million ages ago. He was far and ahead of everyone else.
Absolutely
He's
making
shredded.
back. Glenn Pendlay and the old Cal Strength videos.
The weightlifting videos.
You
never
never
watched
watched them?
No.
Pendlay
Donny
Road.
Shankle. Donny
Done a Pendlay
Shankle.
Road.
Do some crazy
Pendlay Road,
shit.
yeah. Also RIP, passed away a couple of years ago.
R.I.P.
The Cal Strength videos were probably some of my favourite training videos I think I've ever watched. They used to just fucking slam Olympic lifting.
Mad.
And they were
Who-
jacked.
Who was that other guy we used to follow that died as well? He was young. He was jacked.
Young and jacked.
Mm.
Young and jacked.
Ziz?
No, it was but fuck, we used to follow. Me and you were obsessed with him. Not that obsessed, obviously can't remember who he was. No, I fucking we'll talk about it after.
Boston Lloyd?
No.
He passed
He
away.
passed away recently.
He used to be on the cover of like Men's Health and shit. Like
Oh, Greg Plitt.
Greg Plitt.
Greg
Oh,
Plitt, yeah.
Everyone, Greg Plitt.
He was like the OG fitness model.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
motivational speaker.
Yeah.
He had like those 5
Greg
to
Lehman.
10 minute rants.
Not Greg Lehman.
No,
Greg Pendlay reminded me of Greg, which
Yeah.
the neurons were
The
sort
neurons,
of half connecting.
There wasn't
but-
enough creatine in the system to fucking get
He
the
passed
the
away as
neurons
well.
together.
He
He
passed
did.
away
He got hit
from-
by a train
Bugger.
doing a photo shoot.
a photo
Oh
shoot.
my god.
Yeah.
Is that how he died?
Yep.
A tram or a train?
Train.
That's
Was he on a train
terrible.
line?
He was on a train track.
Who the fuck organised that?
I don't know.
And
They
they didn't check the train schedule.
I don't know, but that's how he died. Mike Chang's six-pack shortcuts.
Oh, yeah. This is early.
Never clicked the thing.
This is before I even trained. Like those ads, they just pull you in. You'd start watching, and then you just keep watching. And the ads would go for like 10 minutes, but you wouldn't stop watching. I'm like, oh
And
my
he just
God,
kept
look at
talking about his fucking abs.
the afterburn effect.
I never.
He pulled me in. He pulled me in. I never fucking bought anything, but I was.
Explain the afterburn effect.
Didier at like 13 years old,
Oh,
just
literally.
watching Mike Chang with his
Literally.
abs out.
No. Actually, at one point he did burn me in. When I was really new to training, like literally first month, I did one of his ab workouts, and I was like to my mate, "Oh man, my abs were like on fire. That was crazy. And he's like, oh man, you could just do like anything. If you do it hard enough, you're gonna feel it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not Mike Chang. He doesn't have any secrets.
So I never got sucked in by the ab thing because at boxing it was they'd make us do like 200 crunches every single session, and I'm like, I'm still not shredded. so Mike Chang never got me.
See, I should have known from karate that it never worked. Fuck.
Did you do karate?
Up until like year 8. I did it when I was in primary school.
How'd you go? How far in did you get?
Junior black belt?
Junior black belt, really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Karate.
Way back.
Wow. All right. Jim Wendler, 531.
Yep.
Did we run it?
I ran it.
Ran it?
Ran
How'd
it,
you
but
go?
I think like
How long did you run it for? How many cycles?
Probably like 2, but like everyone, I added shit. Because it was like 3 exercises. Like, man, I'm not doing 3 exercises. What the fuck?
I'm still a big fan.
Of the 531?
I'm just a Jim Wendler.
Do you reckon that is the most played or most undertaken program ever?
I think 5x5
No, I
or
reckon
3x5. Starting strength.
Starting strength.
There was starting strength, 3x5. There was strong lifts, 5x5. That was another one.
Superset
And-
with a gallon of milk.
Yeah, the gallon of milk. And then the Jim Wendler 531.
Yeah.
I love Jim Wendler.
He's got some wisdom for sure.
He was-
Absolutely.
He was like one of the first guys that I would look at, and he was like lift condition. Like he was big and like you could balance that, and I thought that was like the all round gangster, like just an animal. Like that's the way what I think of an animal is like strong, but with like capacity.
Absolutely.
Like, can tolerate work sort of thing, and that was the first guy that I was like, and I still think he's a G. Definitely
Absolutely.
one of the old school elite FTS gangsters.
Mad.
Work capacity.
Yeah.
He's a king.
We're big. Me and Buzz are big on the work capacity.
Charlie's a big heart health guy now.
Doing
Hypertension.
20 minutes of cardio after the meeting on Monday.
Easy.
Progressed to 30 minutes. Cam's been doing it on a Tuesday as well. He's been coming in just to do cardio. The vibes are changing around here.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yep.
Nice.
We're healthy powerlifters.
Healthy powerlifters.
No, we want to. It'll be interesting to
Maybe
see.
it'll hold more weight now that we've got some real powerlifters doing cardio now.
Yeah, well, that could help. That we've actually got some strong guys that are, doing some cardio. But
You
I
and
would.
Cam.
Me and Cam, yeah. I'm strong.
Yeah, you're a strong boy.
I'm a strong boy. But
Start
I
making
enj-
posts about it.
I will start. But
He won't get the hate.
No, you won't get it.
No.
Who got hate?
also.
Who got hate?
I want to
dude.
go one. I want to go one step further. He also has no idea what we're talking about right now.
Neither do I.
he got the hate because he was pushing. This is my assumption is when he was pushing all the aerobic shit because he's not a real powerlifter or a real powerlifting coach.
yeah.
Also, there was a
He's
proper
on
jab.
creatine. He's on creatine.
There was a proper
again.
jab.
Yeah, there was.
He goes,
crack
yeah,
it
we'll
up.
get someone that's actually strong.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
that was straight at you.
None of what I said was a jab at all. You assumed there was
other
a
than
jab.
you knocking Jamie at the knees. Yeah, 100%.
Because you're a
Good, bro.
negative, cynical mindset.
Right.
Everything's a jab.
All right, next one.
The last one I've got on here that I'm just going to throw it out and see what the response is. But Joe Ken.
Yeah.
Over my head.
Big house.
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
he's got the best head in strength and
The
conditioning.
thickest neck of any SEC coach ever.
He's the best portrait.
Yeah.
He's
Best bust.
I've got the one. I've still got it at home. The athletic development thing with
The
Mike
DVDs,
Robertson.
yeah, the
and it's got
DVD
his
series.
portrait on the back of it, and it's just this guy. It's
The thickest neck in town.
thickest neck. Big house.
That is a fantastic DVD series. If anyone can find it, fantastic DVD series. The only other one on here, Kelly Starrett, we've done. Dan John, that's another one for Buzz.
Yeah, I like reading bits of him. He's
Yeah.
creative. He's very like old man health now.
He's very much a father figure of S&C.
Yeah, it's so good. And his whole thing is like simplistic messaging now. Like he's been writing for that long that his writing is just like about, it's a challenge to write better.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's done everything.
Yeah.
Lee Taft, who's a speed training
guy.
I don't know if anybody's
Yeah, I
consumed
looked into
any.
him
I know
as
you
well.
boys wouldn't have, but I definitely have.
Anything noteworthy to say about him?
Great speed training.
He's the
Really
speed
good.
guy.
I'd almost say he's probably the speed guy.
Crazy.
Fast.
Very fast.
It's
And
big
another-
change of direction. It's more like athletic speed because when you're in S&C and you look for speed, it's all linear and track and field. So he was the guy that was incorporating change of direction more. Yeah,
and a
which
lot of
made
like
it-
reactive stuff. Heaps of reactive.
because the whole thing is like you can change direction without stimulus and make it look cool, which is like the whole argument against speed ladders. Like with speed ladders, like you can change and cut and plant and make this like so people rip like the NFL trainers, the quote unquote NFL trainers, and it's like they get them to do speed ladders and do all this fancy shit in the sand.
But it's not reactive.
But it's not
it's all
reactive.
planned and patterned.
because the whole thing is like agility is not change of direction.
It's reaction.
It's reaction and the reaction to a stimulus. So that's why he's
When you got
a good resource.
a linebacker running at you.
Yeah, that's
way is
what
he going?
that Tyreek Hill.
That's a fucking
Tyreek Hill is a
130
monster.
kilos
So
is about to
fast.
run through you. How do you change direction and get away?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And how do you read where they're going?
Yeah.
Stop on a dime?
Yeah. Tyreek Hill is so fast.
Should have played
So
gridiron.
fast.
Gridiron. Let's go play gridiron.
I've got
There's
Elliott.
legs here.
I've got Elliott Hulse on here.
Yeah, I used to
Taking a very dark turn these days.
strength
Some-
camp. That was an early one for me. Strength
Yeah,
camp.
and Chris Barnard.
That's back at
I watched-
Sweatmaster days.
I watched a lot of early Elliott Hulse. He was pumping out just the camera man in front of camera, talking, no edits.
He's lost his fucking marbles.
He's lost them.
Who?
He lost them a while ago.
Elliott Hulse, big trad role.
He's a real far right wing now.
Yeah.
like traditional gender roles, shit like that. Like it's real fucked up.
Men should be men.
Because I thought he went like real like in the spiritual realm.
He did for a
he
bit,
went
and then he
through
came
there.
out of that, and it's
Came
no
out the
good.
wrong portal on the other side.
That's fascinating because you'd think he'd come out the other way.
Yeah, nah. He
And
went
be
in,
like-
he went into the right and demons and came out.
He was probably the original just like Q&A guy. It would should be like, you ask a question, he'll make a 5-minute video
So
about it.
he's regressed like 150 years.
Yeah.
You can go one of two ways when you get real spiritual. I reckon you either become a nutcase and go that way,
Or another type of nutcase.
or the other.
I got Silent Mike on here. What a G.
Big one.
What a G.
See, when Silent and Mike left super training,
just
things
wasn't the
started
same.
taking a turn for the worst.
At Super Training.
When Silent Mike and Super Training were together, Jim McD, those were the days.
So why did he leave? He wanted to
He just wanted to do his own
thing.
thing. He'd been there for like 6 years.
I think he was just
wanted to
ready.
do his own thing.
Yeah, he was just ready to.
He just wanted to. Yeah, do his
I think he wanted his own gym.
he has his own gym now. Yeah, Sacramento.
Third Street Barbell, I think it's called. He's got his own clothing line. He does a lot of work with Bart Kwan and the Barbell Brigades guys. And I think he does a lot of streaming now as well, like game streaming and
Because
stuff.
he started.
He's very much of the sorry to interrupt you there, but he's very much of the I just want to be myself.
Yeah.
Like he just does he dances on camera and stuff. He's got his little steezy
What a piece of
moves.
shit.
Because I remember the Mama's Boy podcast. I loved it. That was just.
That was a good podcast.
They used to
yeah.
talk shit.
See,
him
they
and
did
Omar
like what
Asof.
you guys did in Queensland. They did traveling ones. They'd go to like a city and they do a bunch of bunch of podcasts.
All right,
Sorry.
no worries.
I think we're done.
No, yeah, the camera's overheated. We'll wrap it up there.
Just be the last couple minutes when I have video.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Donny, this is why we pay the
Getting the hand camera.
Do a
coming
hand
out.
cam, Donny. Do a hand cam. Make sure it's on the right camera.
finish.
bit of
with
a hand cam.
Silent Mike.
All right, I'm just going to rattle off the last
Oh,
ones.
it's me. Oi.
Hey.
Maybe I need
Oh, you're looking good.
to start looking back at what Silent Mike's doing. I haven't done for a while.
All right, I'm just going to rattle off these last ones then. Cal Dietz.
Killed dates.
Yeah. I've
This is like ghetto ham cam.
it's mad. I read triphasic, and then it was when I was like way outside of my athletic training.
Prowess. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I just-
understanding.
I read it. Oh no, it wasn't that the understanding was there. It's just the application wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wasn't working with any people to do or to apply triphasic things. I was just everything's so strength and body comp focused now. It didn't make any sense. And then there's one of his boys, Matthew something, and I was talking about glute layering,
Yeah.
and they had lost me.
Yeah.
That lost me. I was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad Wesley Smith, OG.
We had him on the old
We had him on the old podcast, but
Lockdown.
I think he was one of the first ones for me, one of the first content creators that really got me interested in pure strength training, just strength training.
He the first Arnold I ever went to, 2015, he was lifting there, and he's a big boy, but strong boy. And his book is Juggernaut, the
goat book.
Scientific Principles of Strength Training is the book I tell every intern to read. Go
Yeah.
read that. You want to understand strength training? Go read that book. And anyone else out there that's getting that book, mate, that book just made me understand everything.
Yeah.
Their YouTube
Literally,
channel is
bang.
also another good one.
It's the same content they've just put into video form.
Pretty much.
So
You
it's
can
free
find
if you
the
want it.
scientific principles of strength training as a video series. It's all there.
and it's for free on YouTube. So,
Yeah.
but buy the book too, support them.
Support them.
I think the go-to and a question that we get asked by like the interns that come through here, and then just people that go through the page are like go-to resources now for strength and body comp. Eric Helms,
Yeah.
his
Pyramids.
nutrition and strength pyramids. Juggernaut, scientific principles of strength training. Renaissance periodization, scientific principles of hypertrophy. That would probably be it.
That
really.
literally those books,
For strength
just-
hypertrophy, yeah.
Yeah.
those books just put it all together. and very well, like just summarize it perfectly. And buy them. Don't share them around because I used to offer them to like people. But
Criminal.
They're PDFs, so buy
Charlie
them.
the pirate.
I'm educating people on my own mistakes.
All right. Well, we just found out Charlie's a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
We're going to have to wrap this one up.
We're done.
Sorry, guys. Say
Thank you
less.
very much, and we'll see you next week.
Adios.